Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today's video is going to be all about meal planning. So it's a little bit different than my usual videos are. If this isn't really your thing, you can feel free to click off of that. It's perfectly fine. But if you have questions about meal planning techniques, how I meal plan, then this is the video for you. So the first place that I start is by making myself a little list like this. That's my handwriting, so of course it's going to look a little bit all over the place for you. This is like a version that I have on my computer. But most of the time, just the way I am, I actually like to physically write out what I'm going to be doing for my meal plan. So I usually start off with a template like this, and I usually am working based off of where our pay periods start. So you can see like on here, I've started on a Thursday, and that's because our payday is on a Thursday. So last week's meal planning covered us up until that point. So I go based on our pay periods, and I also, for us, I do it for 2 weeks. That might be a little bit of a stretch for you. It might be a little bit too much if you're just starting this. So feel free to just meal plan for 3 days, 5 days, just to get started and see what the process is like. Now, the next thing that I find extremely helpful is to have a calendar or a planner nearby. This is just basically to give me a guideline of if there are special things happening on special days. Like this is open to my February calendar, and we have Nathan's birthday coming up on February 8th. So I know for that day, I'm going to want to plan something special. So this helps me to figure out if we have any type of responsibilities that are coming up that are going to keep us away from home, or make it so that we need to do maybe like a crock pot meal or something like that. So these are my two tools that I kind of keep handy when I'm doing my meal planning: calendar and my notepad to go ahead and just kind of work this up. Okay, so what things kind of factor into our meal planning? How do you come up with ideas? All of that stuff. Well, you first want to learn kind of your own guidelines and your own rules for this. And I think this is going to be different for everybody. When I first started meal planning, I was really ambitious with it, and I was trying to make meals almost every night. And that kind of ran me into a little bit of a problem because I was A, buying a lot of groceries, B, having a lot of groceries go bad because we would end up with these leftovers that I hadn't planned for, and then we're like, what do? Do we eat the leftovers? Do we eat the new meal? And so there was a lot of food waste coming from that, ingredients not getting used at their freshest point because of that, and also just a lot of stress put on me because I'm cooking every single night. And so I kind of had to learn my own process and my own kind of rules of engagement. And one of my rules is that almost every meal I make, I specifically make it large enough that I will have leftovers from it, and the second night we'll eat from our leftovers. So what does that look like? Well, say for example, I'm going to make chili tonight, and I'm going to make up a big enough batch of chili that it will feed us tonight as well as feeding us tomorrow night. And all we have to do is just warm that up, and then we have chili the next night. And how this helps is it's helping me to cook less, but still make sure that we're getting homemade meals. And you can really use this to your advantage, because if you do this, you can also kind of plan around events in your life that would normally kind of throw things out of whack and make it so that you would normally eat out. So I know that if I cook on Wednesday nights, I'm going to have enough food left over that all I have to do is heat it up on Thursday night, and we'll spend probably even less time than we would spend getting something out just by reheating the meal that we had on Wednesday night. And also, you can, even if you can't cook the night prior, you can use meals that cook with less time put in by you. So like a crock pot meal, for example. So if I find that for whatever reason I didn't cook on Wednesday night and I need a meal for Thursday, if I have a crock pot meal or like a sheet pan dinner, something that I can throw in the oven while I'm doing other things and not have to babysit it, then that can work as well. So those are the types of things that you want to take into consideration when you're making your meal plan. That is why a little planner is super helpful, because you can put those kinds of things that are normally an obstacle to you being able to cook or spend a lot of time cooking, and you can kind of go around those roadblocks. Now, what about getting inspiration for meals? Well, this is huge, because this is where most of your idea frame in your mind is going to be for what you're actually going to be putting on your paper and making up meals out of. So there's a lot of different avenues that you can go to get ideas for what you can cook. First off, you can start in your own recipe box, your own recipe book, whatever things you have available that you know how to cook, you're comfortable cooking, lasagna, chili, chicken soup, you know, those types of things that you know. But what if you want to switch it up and try things that you're not familiar with? Well, cookbooks are a great idea as well, and I will give you my top tip for cookbooks. I love the library. I will go and get the biggest stack of cookbooks, anything that interests me, because then you're not having to buy all of these cookbooks, but you can get a sense of if they're a good cookbook or not. You can test a couple of the recipes. So normally what I'll do is I'll go to the library, I'll pick out anything that interests me, I'll look through it at my leisure, and it will give me ideas for meals. I might try some of the recipes, and if I really like the cookbook, then I'll go and buy that particular cookbook. Another place that's great for inspiration for recipes is the internet. So you can do Pinterest. If you want a recipe for a specific ingredient that you're looking for, you can just Google it, Google eggplant recipes, and you'll get so many recipes at your door. And a lot of times I find that by looking up recipes online, looking on Pinterest, on food bloggers' websites and things like that, I can get kind of ideas. So a lot of times I may not actually cook what they're posting, or maybe I will, but I'll change it significantly. But like just looking at the pictures gives me an idea for, that sounds like a good plan. That sounds good. Another thing is YouTube. So you can come to my channel, you can go to anybody else's channel that does food-based content, and you can get really good ideas from them. So different avenues give you ideas for, things. What you have in your knowledge banks is a good starting place, but definitely don't be afraid to try new things. I try new recipes all the time, and most of the time they work out really good, and I'm like, that's a keeper, and it goes in my little box and I keep that one. And sometimes they kind of flop, but you're trying new things, and that's good. It's fun to try new things. Another really good idea for meal planning is to go through your pantry, whatever ingredients you have right now in stock, and kind of take stock of that and figure out if there's anything that really needs to be used or you just kind of want to get rid of, and incorporate that into a meal. For example, I usually make fresh macaroni and cheese. I don't really rely on like boxed mac and cheese, but I have a couple boxes in my pantry that have just been sitting there for a really, really long time, since that's not what I naturally gravitate to. So on my list of things that I need to use up is that macaroni. So I need to plan for this week to have a meal that's going to incorporate that boxed macaroni, just so I can get that out of my pantry. And even if it's an odd ingredient, it's actually so much fun just to figure out what you're going to do with it. Last year, I posted a video for eggplant parmesan, and I truly had not spent much time dealing with eggplant prior to that, and it just, anytime I had it, it wasn't really a flavor or a texture that I really liked, and so it wasn't something I gravitated to. It's not something that I would normally put on my list to buy. But last year, somebody gave us a box of produce, and wouldn't you know, there's eggplants in there. I'm like, well, what am I going to do with these? So I tried eggplant parmesan and I was blown away. I'm like, this is delicious. So now I am a fan of eggplant, but that never would have happened if I hadn't had this odd ingredient on hand that I needed to use. So odd ingredients can kind of be a gateway to learn new things as well, and just kind of figure out what you can do with them. So that's fun too. One other thing that I do like to do as well is keep either on my online calendar or just on like a list on my phone. If I have a sudden craving for something, like, oh, I really want lasagna, I will put it on that list. It doesn't mean it's going to throw me off track of my current meal plan. I'm not going to change everything around so all of a sudden I can have lasagna, but I will put it on, hi Zuko, I will put it on next week's. Hello, baby. Oh, he like, mommy, stop talking, just love me. But I will put it on next week's meal plan. So that helps me out a lot too, because sometimes you just get a craving for something, but then when you're sitting down to do your grocery list or your meal plan, you've completely forgotten it. So if I just put a little note on my calendar or on my phone, like where I keep my shopping list on my phone, that way I know, oh, hey, yeah, I wanted that. And if it still sounds good, I'll just add it to the list. So I now have my meal plan kind of started here. I know you can't really see that, but I have meals set up for each day. Now what I do from this point is this becomes my shopping list. So that's where this is kind of important and why it really helps with things, because now I can go down and say, okay, I want to have spicy beef empanadas. Do I have ground beef in the freezer? If I don't, I know I need to get ground beef. Things like that. It just kind of helps to put things in perspective for, okay, what do I need for this meal? Okay, so like what you can do, anytime I try to move this, he gets really possessive. Give it to me. Give me the paper. You can take this little side margin area. Oh my goodness, you're frisky. You're so frisky today. You can take this area and just kind of mark down, okay, what do I need for a spicy beef empanada meal? And I like to actually just list out all of the ingredients that I know that I will need or want for it. And then I will go ahead and just take that list and cross off anything I know I already have. And anything that's left is what I'm shopping for. So this gives me a good starting place to figure out what my shopping list is going to look like. The main thing that I started off meal planning was dinners, because, that's when we eat together. That's our main meal of the day. This boy is being ridiculous. But another important thing is lunches. Even though me and Nathan aren't together for our lunches through the week, we still both need to eat. So normally, what is wrong with you? Normally, we will plan one lunch for each of us for the week, one type of lunch. Like here, I have salads with grilled chicken. That'll be my lunch for that week. And then chicken with broccoli and rice for Nathan. And we will meal prep those on like Saturday or Sunday afternoon and just have that throughout the week. And then desserts is another thing. I do always like to try new baking recipes and usually have something in the house that we can have for dessert if we want it. So I wrote down a couple of different ideas for some dessert things. A lot of this, I already have what I need for it in the house, but like in the event of this cherry chocolate chip cake that I want to try to make, I need some cherries. So I need to get those. And then snacks is another thing that you can put down if you want. I've been making a more conscious effort to have snacks around the house that we can eat because I've really avoided that for a long time, and sometimes you just need a snack, like apparently this kid does. So snacks is something you can meal plan too. Breakfasts, usually we fend for ourselves on breakfast, but if you're trying to eat a particular way, a healthier way, it's a good idea to kind of meal plan that as well. And that's kind of just for the week also, as opposed to like having a different breakfast every single day, just like meal planning and prepping something that can go throughout the whole week. So now that my kitten has totally destroyed my papers, he's not a kitten, by the way, but he still acts like one. That is pretty much what I wanted to go over with you on meal planning. So when you first start out with meal planning, it can be a little overwhelming. There is a lot that goes into it because you're planning ahead for so many days. But I would encourage you to try it, but just don't take it as extreme as I do. Like I said, like I do like for 2 weeks in a row, and even for me at the end of that, it can be kind of like, whoo, okay, that was a lot. But you just try for a couple days, like maybe try meal planning for like 3 days and just kind of see how it goes for you, and just adapt your process to whatever works best for you. Like for us, that cooking once and having 2 meals out of it works beautifully. That way I always know, okay, I don't have to cook tomorrow night. And it gives me that little bit of a break, and it's very helpful. But just kind of adapt according to your lifestyle, what things work for you and what things don't. And even if you kind of crash and burn, if it's still something that you have a desire to do a meal plan and you think that that would help you, keep trying it. Because like I said, when I first started, I way overwhelmed myself with it, and it really just was too much. But you can work it out. You just have to kind of keep trying so that you learn your own patterns and you learn what works for you. And then what works for you might change. At the beginning, we were eating out so much more. I knew we would have like maybe 2 meals per week that we ate out. And now it's so much less. Now eating out is more of a, I forgot to pull the ground beef out of the freezer early enough, or maybe like I pulled it out, but I had a really bad day, so like I need some comfort food, that kind of a thing. And I know even that's probably not like the best thing that you can do for yourself, but we're human. We have those days. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I've wanted to make it for a really long time, so I'm glad I finally got some time to sit down with you and talk about how I meal plan. And if you have any ideas on something that works better for you, or any questions or anything like that, you can leave them down below in the comment section. You know, other people check there too. And so if there's a way that works better for you than what I've described, feel free to leave it down below so that we can have a little discussion about different ways of meal planning. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.